has never stopped any terrorist attacks. So they do all this illegal, unconstitutional spying on us, and the reason they give is to stop terrorism because we're in this perpetual war on terror. They'll never end, but they've never stopped any terrorist attacks.
They can't even get ISIS's Twitter account shut down. I mean, it's
that is ridiculous.
I mean,
well, sad. Twitter should just shut it down. I mean, Twitter has the power to just say no. We don't allow violent threats and etc.
They're all on the same team, right?
Yeah, of course. So yeah. It's all one branch.
It is.
Yeah. Hey. So let's go back real quick to the basically, I think it was the hacking team that tweeted out something about how Bitcoin was funding child pornography. What are your thoughts about Bitcoin? And is it something that we should invest in a little bit just to keep our eggs in multiple baskets? Or what is their beef with Bitcoin? Are they trying to discredit Bitcoin, or are they pro it? What are your thoughts on Bitcoin and how hacking team was talking about them?
So to most people, Bitcoin's still fairly new, but to guys like myself, I mean, it's been here, it came and went. I mean, it hasn't gone, but essentially when it came out, it was, you could get 100,000 Bitcoins. Somebody just give you 100,000. And now today, one Bitcoin is essentially, several $100.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So the Bitcoin world is a good one. I firmly believe in Bitcoin just because you're not stuck with, the Rothschild banking system that's sucking you dry. And that's what they hate. They don't like it. But, some of the end-time prophecies they're talking about is there's going to be a one-world currency. Yeah. When Bitcoin came, that basically got fulfilled because you can buy, in the hacking world, you can buy anything you want. I mean, you can buy it, as long as you have Bitcoin, there's nothing stopping you. And that's how most of the hacking world is, that's how you buy stuff. Yeah, you don't do PayPal because it's just, it's not going to work in the hacking world. So you do Bitcoin.
So, Jason, did the shutdown of Silk Road slow down the dark net at all?
No, but I mean, there's like 3 that sprung up right after that. I mean, they nailed this guy. I think he was actually from California or something. I mean, he had all these. What it did, if it didn't do, it encouraged people because now they've got encrypted different kinds of them that are a lot harder to catch. So now they've actually just increased it. And so you're never going to stop hackers. You're never going to stop the hacking stuff. I mean, especially in the drug world. I mean, if people want it, it's an easy way to get it. And for the most part, you get it right in the mail, and it's the way you go. So, no, it didn't stop it. But it did give the FBI, I think, one of the biggest Bitcoin troves that has ever been known because they got to take all that dude's money, and only God knows what they've done with it. So,
well, supposedly, last reports I read was that they can't get past the encryption, so they can't access his Bitcoin account. But we know that everything they say is a lie, so it's hard to know the truth.
Yeah, and that you're only going to hear half of it. I do know I saw a FBI account that actually was linked to a Bitcoin. I know they got a lot of it. They probably didn't get a lot, like everything, because unlike a traditional bank account where you have like one number, you can have 100 different Bitcoin addresses, and as long as you are the only access to it, I mean, they'll be good forever. It's essentially it's a way to have money with no bank, and it's the accounting. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, Jason, explain to that for our audience and also for myself, because I started trying to do little computer programming to just teach myself computer programming, on a basic site, because I feel that is, most people really need to know how everyone has a cell phone. They don't know how it works. I mean, we need to know computers. That's the way of the future. That's technology. So explain to our audience a little bit, how is Bitcoin? How does it work? How can you get some without buying it? Can you mine it? But explain that too. Just explain the whole concept a little bit.
Sure. So Bitcoin was essentially put together, and the guy that created Bitcoin is been very elusive. It's been one of these guys that nobody truly knows who this guy is. He came in one day, laid down a whole bunch of paperwork and a bunch of programs and said, here, this is what we have. And these guys ran off with it, and it's been like 8-10 years, I think. I don't even know what the actual time is. But essentially, Bitcoin works like this. Let's say, for instance, you guys are all part of the Bitcoin network, and everybody that has a Bitcoin address and a wallet is part of the Bitcoin network. Mm-hmm. So what happens is, say I want to pay you $1 in Bitcoin. Yeah. I pay you $1, and you take the transaction. Sam and crew down the road, everybody has they see the same transaction. They see that I just paid you. And so everybody gets this same accounting. And after about 15 minutes, the world knows that I truly gave you this money, and that's the way it is.
That's the way they account for it. Everyone knows.
Exactly.
Everyone knows the transaction happened.
Yeah, there's no refunds. I mean, when you pay someone with Bitcoin, it's gone. I mean, if you got screwed or you got bent on it, it's over. Call it a day.
Unless someone wants to give you it back if they're honest and moral, or if it was, et cetera, et cetera.
Bitcoin, it's not going to happen.
Okay, gotcha.
So it's once it's WYSIWYG, it's gone. So what essentially Bitcoin, you can get Bitcoins pretty much from anywhere. There's companies called Coinbase that are actually U.S. based, and you can put a credit card on there. And Bitcoin is very interesting if anybody out there follows stocks, because like traditional stocks where you can play day trading, where you can shave off points here and there as things move up and down. Bitcoin doesn't have enough volume, so some days you could jump up $100. So Bitcoin at one point was over $1,200 per one Bitcoin, and it just fluctuates up and down. And lately, all the financial institutions have started profiling this and putting this into their portfolios. So, as about a year ago, it kind of started getting owned by the banks, and so you can see it when they actually want to dump it or make it go up or down. It's really easy to make it go up and down, but it's something good to have. If we have an EMP. Or something of the sort, computers are gone forever, it's over. I mean, you have no money. It's not like silver or gold or something. You
need physical hard assets as well as having your eggs in multiple baskets, like Bitcoin.
Right, yeah. But the more people are accepting it. I mean, you can buy pizzas in New York. You can buy, I think there's strip clubs in Portland that actually take Bitcoins. Of course. But
now, what about, can someone hack you to hack your wallet to be able to get the digital currency?
So that's the thing. You either keep your Bitcoins in something like Cryptsy, which is a online banking that has so far been one of the better ones, or you can take a chance and keep it on your own computer. You keep the database on your computer and then generate the Bitcoin address from there. But you're at the mercy of getting hacked, because all they have to do is just take one file and it's over. You lost your Bitcoins.
Yeah. Now to mine Bitcoin, and I know we'll get off this in a little bit, but it interests me. Totally, Bitcoin is just such a cool concept. So if I want to mine Bitcoin, how does that happen? Do I have to how would I do that? How would I physically get on the computer and say, I'm going to mine some Bitcoin? Do I have to figure out problem solving, or what how does that happen?
First, can you explain how Bitcoin derives its value?
Yeah.
Sure. Well, the value is kind of all based upon what people are willing to pay for it at the time.
At the time, yes.
Yeah,
which should be like everything. I think it's the market. It's whatever the market tells us, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
The confidence of the product, which is a currency, is also a product.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it is a product, and so the value is more upon who's going to pay, who needs what. Because sometimes you'll go in, you'll need a Bitcoin, you're willing to pay whatever it takes just to get the dang Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So back in the day, we're a little late on the Bitcoin story because it's pretty much game over. They've changed the concept of it. But back in the days, you would take your computer, and what they were doing is all these hackers were owning your computer. And the reason your computer started getting really slow is because they started mining Bitcoins on your computer. So they were using massive computers to have slaves mine for them. And so what it is a Bitcoin has a thing called a block. A block is a whole bunch of numbers that are it's a formula you have to break. And so as you're sitting there, all this does is it takes your computer and you're sitting there just cracking code over and over and over.
Yeah.
At some point, you get to this little piece of a number. Once you find that number, everybody who's been mining this particular block, you split it up. So back in the days, it was real simple because you would get 50, 60 Bitcoins. And nowadays, I mean, it takes days and days and days to ever make one.
Yeah.
If you can do that. Because they've changed the processing, the kind of computers that you can do them on. It's no longer traditional computers. They're special processors called ASIC processors that are just meant for doing Bitcoin stuff. So
yeah. So it's the confidence of the people using the network is basically, if you have a bunch of people mining for Bitcoin, I guess it's more widely accepted because more people are on the network using the currency. And then it also kind of proves that the currency has some value because smarter people are using it. Does that translate? So
people, you can see it rise when people come in and just buy a whole crap load of it. So when somebody comes in and buys 1,000 Bitcoins, your price of your Bitcoins all of a sudden just starts driving up.
Yeah.
And it's such low volume that it doesn't take too much to actually affect this market pretty pretty heavily.
Wow.
So, I'm not sure if this is answering the question, but is that answering anything for you?
Sorta. I mean, yeah. But would you say that the more people that use it, and since it is a little bit tougher, it's not just going, working at McDonald's and you're getting a paycheck of paper, just a piece of paper. You're actually using a network that other people are using, so that adds value. But also, you're actually cracking sort of a code to earn it a little bit, to actually create it. Right. As I heard Max Kaiser talk about this years ago, but that's kind of my understanding of it. That kind of makes sense to me. So I don't know if I'm on the right track, but
yeah, you are. So essentially, the value of the Bitcoin is the time it costs to crack this code.
Gotcha.
The longer the Bitcoin, so at the early days, the codes were really easy to crack. You crack them just immediately.
Gotcha.
Now it takes sometimes days, weeks to crack a block, and so the longer it goes, Bitcoin was designed so that it could, basically, you can't go over a certain amount of number. They have a set rate. So, I mean, you can't just go like the U.S. government and start printing endless money.
So it controls inflation. It controls the actual currency. It doesn't allow it to...
More difficult, too. So you can't just... The traditional guys that were doing this with all these slave machines, it's useless anymore.
So it holds its value.
It does. It really does. I trust it far more than U.S. I would take this over a U.S. dollar any day.
Wow. That makes a lot more sense now. Jason Boss, 2 Real News. That's 2, as in the number 2, realnews.com. We're talking about hacking. We're talking about Bitcoin, technology in general, and Jason knows a lot about that. So can we get into a little bit about... Sam, do you have anything else? I have a couple more things I want to ask Jason.
Go ahead.
What are your feelings about Anonymous, Jason? Because before you say anything,
Yep.
for the most part, it just seems like you're very intelligent as far as it goes with hacking and just world issues and stuff, current issues. But you seem like a moral guy that understands that technology, we need it, but also you have to have morality. You have to have people with actual morals to handle technology and to be willing to not go and just hack someone's computer, and also maybe teach others, hey, this is how it works, this is how you protect yourself, so we can create a better society. Now, with Anonymous, we see them do some good things. We see them do some things that maybe I don't agree with. But what are your feelings as a whole when it comes to guys like groups like Anonymous?
So, Anonymous is one of those groovy groups that. So, I believe that Anonymous has, because of the